Some University of Toronto students are recycling to help refugees. Students from the school's business and engineering programs have created Moto. So that's a company, and what they do is they make logs from used coffee grounds. It actually acts as a substitute for firewood. This is an effort to help women and children in refugee camps. Well, men too, I would hope. Matthew Frehlich is one of the co-founders of the company and joins us now in studio. Matthew, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so where did this idea come from and how long ago did it pop up?
It's actually been a process over about 2 or 3 months. It was all part of the Halt Prize, which was a student competition, and it came to us when we were looking at what is one problem we can solve, because there's a million things we can do to try and help people in refugee situations. So it all started with an Instagram recipe where we saw people were using these as decorative logs, and we thought, why not repurpose that and try and use it as a substitute for firewood that's already being used.
Okay, so show me what you have here and tell me exactly what has gone into it. This is one of your logs.
Yeah. So what I have here is one of our logs. This is one of our prototypes. And what's gone into that is coffee grounds. So this is used coffee grounds left over from companies like Starbucks, Tim Hortons, Second Cup. And that's mixed with wax and sugar after we dry out the coffee grounds. And it actually burns as you would see in a firewood.
So you can light this up, and how long would it be good for?
So our first prototype, we actually burnt for an hour and a half, and
Wow.
we managed to cook UN rations with it, just as you would in a refugee camp situation.
Good for you. And this one, how long would it go for now?
Well, we haven't burnt it yet, but we're assuming that we'd be looking at about an hour of burn time, and you'd be able to cook an entire meal during that time.
So how much would it cost to produce something like this, considering you're using a recycled coffee grounds and a couple of other products?
So actually, one of the most difficult things with this is just the transportation issues. But what we've priced out so far is using the coffee grounds from waste products and using this wax and sugar, which can also be got from industrial byproducts. We've actually been able to get it below about 70 cents is what we're looking at, 70 cents per log. And that's what they're normally paying for. Our study showed that they're paying about $1 for the same amount of firewood in these refugee situations.
So this is obviously a fantastic idea. You guys have worked on it as part of a project. Do you think that practically it's going to be produced, it's going to be sent out, and there are people in the world who are going to use it? What's the plan to make it happen?
So that's what we're hoping for. As part of this competition, the idea is that you'd actually go and implement your solution. And we're at the stage where we've done as much research as we can, and we're really trying to reach out to people who have been in these situations and have experience working in places like Kenya and other places in Africa and doing this sort of work. So right now we're working on the logistics and actually getting it into the hands of the people that'll be using it so that we can test to see if our idea is viable.
Okay, so you're starting off with Kenya. But really, this is applicable for so many places and for so many people, especially refugees who have been pushed out of Syria, for example. Are you thinking of it on a broader use?
Absolutely. The reason we chose Kenya in particular is because during our studies of finding a problem to focus on for refugees, we narrowed in on the issue of gender-based violence when women and children, who are the main people who are looking for this firewood, they actually have to go out and it takes up to 6 hours and they hike about 15 kilometers. So the main issue we wanted to solve was how can we provide a substitute that would keep these people safe? And the main use for that was in refugee camps. Going forward, we'd like to expand it to as many situations as possible.
So when will this announcement be made as to who won this prize? And I guess that is when you will find out whether you can go forward with this.
So ideally, we will be progressing to the next round past the regionals. The regionals, our team has been lucky enough to be invited to Shanghai.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, thank you. In March. And then if we actually win that, we'll be moving on to an accelerator program where they'll help us and they'll teach us, and people with social entrepreneurship experience will mentor us along, and they'll announce the winners in September. And the winner actually is granted $1 million in seed funding to go and put their idea into action.
What a great idea. Good luck to you and your team. It's a fantastic idea and so many practical applications around the world.
Thank you so much.
All right, good luck. That is Moto Co-founder Matthew Frehlich joining us today in studio.